Hello everyone, how are you? Hope you're having a good day. This video is going to go into human reproduction. It is a follow-up to our last video on sexual reproduction, and we're going to be looking at the question, why is sex such a big deal anyway? Just a disclaimer, to do this we're going to need to talk frankly about the biology of sex, as well as some of the social and cultural issues surrounding it. We're not going to go too far into that because this is still a science video, but I think it would be irresponsible to tackle the science without going into some of these wider issues. If you think this content is inappropriate for the audience, please stop watching the video now. First, we need to remember that all mammals do this. We're going to talk about humans, but humans are mammals in the animal kingdom, which means that the biology is going to be broadly similar across all mammals. Of course, there are still many sexual differences across the different mammal species. Now let's look at the sexual organs on the male and female. Here we can see a diagram of the male and female sexual organs with various parts marked, but the most important parts to remember are the penis, which is the male sexual organ. This becomes erect when it is sexually stimulated. The vagina is the female sexual organ, and this becomes wet when sexually stimulated. The testes are often called the balls, and these are where the male makes sperm. They are on the outside to help regulate the temperature for the best sperm production. The ovaries are inside the female, and this is where she keeps her eggs. They are made there, but all females have all of their eggs for their whole life by the time they are sexually mature, and then they are released once a month in the menstrual cycle. The body first needs to get ready for sex. Young humans, usually in their teenage years, go through adolescence. This is when the body changes to become sexually mature. Adolescent humans experience more body hair, which grows in the armpits, genitals, and face for males. There is also a deeper voice in both sexes, but especially males. The body will start to produce new chemicals for different reasons, so adolescents start to get a body odor more like adults. There is also sexual development. Females will develop breasts, and the sexual organs will change in both sexes. And then the sexual function also starts. Females begin to have a monthly menstrual cycle, which releases eggs for fertilization, and male testes begin to produce sperm cells. Here we also need to mention hormones. Hormones are chemicals which carry signals around the body to affect behavior and development. Especially in adolescent humans, hormones can affect behavior very strongly, and this is why adolescents are often found to behave in ways which are strange even to themselves. There are many different hormones, but the two most powerful sexual hormones are testosterone and estrogen. These hormones have important functions in both sexes, but testosterone is more important in males for regulating bone and muscle mass, as well as sexual characteristics. Estrogen is more important in females, and it regulates the sexual operation of the female biology. Both hormones are much more complex than this, of course. Now let's talk about the process of sexual intercourse. Before sex starts, there is a very big social question. It's very complicated and it's not the topic of this video. Suffice to say that when sex happens and how sex happens is a very difficult subject to talk about. I am going to go into some of the problems that can arise in the next few slides, but this is really not the main topic of the video here. However, to complete intercourse, as we said, the male penis becomes erect and it is inserted into the female vagina, which becomes wet to receive it. This happens until it releases sperm in an ejaculation. The penis releases liquid, and both the male and female can experience a sexual climax called an orgasm when the body releases chemicals called endorphins to make them feel relaxed and happy. This is why sex is considered enjoyable for both sexes, and of course, DNA wants you to feel like this so that you do as much of it as possible. Now we need to move on to why sex is a thing. If you're old enough to be watching this video, then you have probably noticed that humans behave very strangely when sex is concerned. Many people are uncomfortable talking about sex. The reason for this is the powerful effects that sex has on our chemistry and our biology that can affect our behavior to make us feel like sex is a priority. Sex is the genetic purpose of life, but in everyday modern life it is actually rather silly, and there are often far more important things that you should be thinking about. This is why sex is still a thing, even though it's something that we don't do that often in everyday life, because our body chemistry is telling us that we should be doing it probably more than we are. Following on from that, we need to ask how sex can be a problem. Sex is natural and something that everyone does, but there are risks to having it. There are many different sexually transmitted diseases which can be caught by sexual intercourse. Most notably HIV, which is a virus that still has no cure and can lead to death. The purpose of sex for DNA, remember, is reproduction, and so this means pregnancy can often come from having sex. This is fine if you are ready to have children, but can be a very big problem if you are not. And many young people, when they start having sex, are not thinking enough about the possibility of pregnancy. This is a very complex subject, and it goes deeply into social and cultural factors. And there is where I am going to leave it, because this is a science video. But I just want to say that if you are in the point in life where you are thinking about becoming sexually active, you should be listening to many people thinking seriously about this subject and not just one YouTube video. Finally, I want to mention the difference between sexual maturity and sexual activity. I mentioned it briefly on the last slide, but humans are sexually mature around the ages of 10 to 18. It is different for every individual, but they are usually not emotionally mature until later. Sex and the hormones it releases have a powerful effect on our emotions and our behavior, and as we saw, it can lead to long-lasting effects on your life that you aren't ready for if you handle it badly. This is why children are kept away from sex even after they start to become interested in it. But deciding to become sexually active is something that should be done in an emotionally mature way. And that is the end of our video on human reproduction. And I would just like to say one more time at the end that if you are watching this video and you are not yet sexually active, then please take advice from many different people, including your parents, teachers, and anyone else who you think is emotionally mature about how to make your decision. I hope you found this video interesting either way. If you have, please leave a like, and you can also subscribe to my EP for further videos on different science topics. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.